Hello and welcome to the 90 Minute Cynic podcast. I am your host, Chris Gallagher, and I'm joined by Kieran Harron.
Good evening.
Louis McCaffrey.
Hello.
Chris Armani.
Good evening.
And Christian Wolfe.
Great to be here.
Okay, no Chris Boud this week, but he was great hosting for the last 2 weeks, but this is my dojo and I'm back in charge. So we're just going to start. We're probably looking at quite a Celtic-centric podcast, just in terms that this game really is, the game coming up against Malmo really is one of the key games we've had in a number of years. Probably the most important game of Dyla's managerial career to date. And but what we're going to do first is Louis, we are on Periscope. That's a thing.
So it really is going to be my thing then.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. This Periscope thing, we are on that.
Can you tell people what it is?
It's live streaming, so basically if you download the app, you can kind of go in and see what people are up to.
Sounds great.
I'm not selling it very well.
It's on the internet.
Basically, you can see us recording the podcast live on this app.
Yeah, what we'll do is we've only kind of discovered that we knew what it was, but we've only got involved with it today. So from next week, probably, or we'll put some Periscope up.
We'll try and maybe we're not going to do the whole podcast on it.
But Christian Wolfe is just laughing, dying of laughter, for no particular reason.
But yeah, we'll muck about it.
And when we get Boud on, I'm sure we'll have some submarine puns as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so firstly, I just want to comment on the fact that True or False is back. We've done it the last 2 weeks, and it shall continue. Christian Wolfe and Chris Armani were the answer bearers, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a word. But
We bore answers.
you bore answers. We talked about Celtic and Malmo, Ambrose and Izagiri, which we'll talk lots about.
Is he?
Is he? Yeah. Hearts title chances, Otamendi, Dan for England, Champions League. Get involved, 90minutecynic.com. It's going to be up every Sunday. And we might get to the point where we may ask you to get involved with questions and such. We also have a new article from Martin Friel that's going to go up every Monday. It's
Mr. Friel, I believe, will be on the podcast next week as well.
It's a very good point. Mr. Friel will be making his debut.
Nice segue.
Segue in there. He's doing a hand thing. No one can see it. If we
Not
had
on
Periscope,
with
the hand thing. But no, the 4 eyes, which is just breaking down the good, the bad, and the indifferent of the week. The weekend's action. First episode was up today. Check it out, 90minutecynic.com. If you've got any tweets or comments, the Twitter is at 90minutecynic. Let's just dive into it, guys. So, before we talk about the Champions League match, which, as I say, is probably one of the most important matches we've had in years, we'll talk about Dundee United. We played Dundee United on Saturday, 12 o'clock, which was a pain in the arse, frankly. I don't know why a football match is starting at 12 o'clock. Thoughts on the game, Chris Armani?
Thank you, Christopher Gallagher, and I must say that it's wonderful to have you back in the chair.
Thank you. That means a lot. It really does.
Professionalism's gone up a level this week.
Boom.
More hair as well. Except I have to drive further to come here, so it balances out.
Yeah, but you get a nice cup of tea as well, so it's fine.
Was a lovely cup of tea, but anyway, on to football and matters. The Dundee United game was a pleasant surprise for me. I believe I was of the opinion that Celtic should have went for a bit of continuity after the Champions League game. He didn't, and it didn't matter, which was really positive in terms of resting players up for Tuesday, for tomorrow. I thought the performance was really quite good. Some of the attacking play was great. Rogic was very neat in the middle. I thought it was quite a disciplined performance from him. Something that I wasn't sure he could do. I think we've touched on his positional ability being a question mark over him, but I thought it was really quite composed and disciplined. Broke the play up quite nicely. Commons was quite good. Griffiths again with his goal. I thought it was a fantastic finish, just doing what he's been doing, carrying on.
And we have to give credit to Izagiri for the ball through, to be fair.
Well, it was a defensive mistake.
Oh Jesus! There's the negativity that we all know and love.
No, it was a decent ball through, and obviously Griffiths done really well to get onto it after a perhaps slightly heavy touch, but no bother to the Griffmeister. He just tucked it away.
Griffmeister General.
The Griffmeister General, Griffington Steel.
That's the stuff.
I thought, if we're moving on to the negatives, which I'm doing rather quickly, but Stokes, it looks as if his numbers up in the Celtic strip. I thought he was pretty ineffective.
Still on the hate list, of course.
the infamous hate list, which I've misplaced. I'm going to need to look it out and update it. But no, I mean, none of us hate Stokes. I mean, we can't. He's such a lovable guy, you know. But
yep.
I think his time in a Celtic strip's over, really. And I think his chances have been limited, so he'll probably be shown the door. All I'm going to say is now's Efe Ambrose penalty, and
we'll get to that.
I'm leaving it at that and passing over to my Norwegian
Christian.
colleague.
Yeah, good to play Dundee United again.
7 meetings last season.
Been missing that. It's also good to see how totally and utterly the way Celtic has just broken Dundee United, having played them all those games. They just do not seem to put up a match against Celtic now after that few wins in a row at the end of last season. I think the main positive, as Martin said as well, is like putting so many new players in. I think it makes it a total of 25 players that has played a competitive game this season. But Celtic was still able to kind of replicate the system and the way of playing, and just get quite a comfortable win, which I think is a credit to the way. Not that I try not to praise him too much, but the way Dyla has, really instilled his system into the squad, so that the players that play in the different positions, obviously they do matter in terms of quality, but they don't probably matter a little bit less in terms of everybody knows what you have to do in which role and can execute that, even though they haven't played in a while. So I think that was the positives. I think it's a good things in terms of the mentality that you obviously rested a lot of players, but you get a win in before the season was looked at as one of the tougher away games. So winning always helps. So I think overall it was a positive day.
Kieran, I'm going to come to you. As we say, with 9 changes, Janko started, Bailey started, O'Connell started, Rogic got another kind of start as well.
I have to interrupt and say it's not Bailey, apparently it's Bailly. Commentators kept calling him, and apparently he actually spoke to him before the game and says that he would like to be called Bailly.
Okay, Bailly.
A tip is to say it in an Australian accent. Bye.
Why is that? Why is that
Australian?
Yeah.
No, I didn't say he was Australian, but saying it in Bailey.
Bailey. Oh yeah, Bailey. Just sign Bailey quickly. Bailey.
Big shout out to Melbourne Boy,
of course. Hello there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your patronage. Kieran, who impressed you in terms of the people? We'll get to Scott Allen. Who impressed you in terms of the people who started?
I was quite chuffed with O'Connell. I thought O'Connell did not too bad. He didn't cut out once or twice, but young defender and bomb scare next to him is not going to be kind of be comfortable or anything. But I thought he did everything simple, didn't overcook anything, got the ball, made some quite a number of good tackles as well.
Yeah.
And dare I say it, touchwood, that if we don't make the Champions League, I would be quite comfortable getting him more game time this season in the league.
Yeah.
As well as even the Europa League.
Would you not be comfortable giving him game time even if we do qualify for the Champions League though? Like the games after, like that game's a perfect example. It's the Saturday after the Wednesday.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I suppose. But if we're in Europa League, I'd give him a wee bit of chance in Europa League. I think that's a bit of a level for him. I think.
Or if we
Champions League might be quite tough.
If we get like some Norwegian team in the Champions League, I mean that's a banker anyway, especially at home. So we'll just
absolutely.
Yeah. But so he impressed you
definitely as well as Samayo saying Rogic. I thought Rogic looked really good.
Yeah,
I think he's really going to be part of the squad now. I think he's almost going to be next in line if like Brown or Bitton don't make it. If they're sitting out, rested, suspended or whatever, I think he'll be the one. Because I think he played in beside Mulgrew with Commons ahead of him, and it seemed as if it suited Rodgers a bit better than it was him because previously when he's played, he's been playing in
The number 10, yeah.
and he's kind of been a bit lost. Whereas I think he prefers right in the heart of it and just kind of getting tore in and had some nice, lovely touches and kind of getting himself out of danger. Yanko as well. I thought Yanko for the first half an hour was doing really good.
I thought he was phenomenal.
Dixon apart, and he just Dixon couldn't cope with him, and he obviously eventually get a yellow card, but he's going to be doing that because he's keen to learn. He's keen to impress because he wants to obviously start. Because obviously, right back as we know it just now is up for grabs. I think it'll be very, very. It might even be a gamble playing Lustig. I mean, that would be quite a bad injury.
I don't doubt it would be a gamble.
I mean,
but
I sat watching, he was in tears.
We'll get to that, but just focusing on the Dundee United game.
The other first thing as well with the keeper by, he looks like
he looks shy
under pressure. The ball at his feet, he does look like he can. I mean, that
He
one,
looks pure
what was he doing?
What was he doing all game? All game? What was he doing?
But he still looked better than Zaluchka.
Oh, he
does.
does.
Ah, well.
He's got that.
Shot stopper.
He's got that cult hero vibe about him. You know, I mean,
He was a bit of a ruffian, was he not, when he was younger, before he had a kid?
Yeah.
What?
A ruffian, he was a bit.
He was a ruffian. Have you never heard the
You know
phrase?
about the 6 cars? I think something like he 6 fancy cars, and he was at the clubs at night and all that. And then
Bailey's in bother.
and all of a sudden he knocked his missus up. And
Oh, Jesus
now he's
Christ.
kinda,
He knocked his missus up.
Oh my God!
But he
I
knocked her up.
apologise to every female woman. that's
Welcome to the
listening.
OK Magazine podcast.
This is the worst. No, but Bailey, I'm joking when I say he looks shite. What I'm saying is, he did. He looked shite though, didn't he?
Oh, he's coming in. See a couple of the bog standard saves for the free
Oh.
kicks. He turned them into some Hollywood shit, man.
Right,
I enjoyed that.
I'm coming to you in a second, right? What I would say about what I don't understand and what I dislike is see when the people, the commentators say, "Oh, that was a save for the cameras." You still got to save it. Like,
I
see-
mean,
he's still stinging.
he didn't need to be horizontal when he saved it.
Aye. He's standing
no,
your feet.
I think he did. I think he did. Louis McCaffrey, I'm coming to you. Dyla took a risk, and I'll be honest, when I sat down to watch the game along with my father, we were really apprehensive, like probably most of the people, because we were harking back to the Inverness game last season. So many changes, and we flopped so badly. He took a risk, and the risk worked. Dyla, if it had been the other way and we'd lost, he would have been in for a huge amount of criticism from social media, from the media in general. Do you think he's got the praise he's deserved? Because no one's really mentioned the fact that, you know, we did make 9 changes, and as this beautiful human being Christian Wolf said here, it shows that, you know, 1 year later that the players are now have the system ingrained into them, so it shows how far we've come. Do you think he's got the credit he deserves for that match?
No, but then I wouldn't really expect him. I wouldn't really expect him to get the credit. I mean, chances are, if he mucks something up, Celtic start playing bad, then obviously he'll be the fall guy. Whereas when we play well and stuff like that happens, it's just, well, Celtic should, because they have the strongest squad in the league. So, what are you surprised about? I thought it was good. I mean, we had 64% possession over the whole game, which I was surprised about.
At Tannadice as well. Which
at Tannadice, yeah. I mean, some of their players so far this season, like Suter, Spittle, Fraser, even Erskine, Connolly, these players have shown at points, and the Dundee derby, they were good players. They looked exciting young players, and yet never really seemed to turn up at the weekend.
I thought Suter was good. I thought Suter had a good game.
Yeah.
I thought he was good in possession, but he's playing with a team that are terrible.
But I expected it to be more even than it was, and then especially put onto that the fact that we're pretty much playing with a B team. I mean, to pretty much dominate the game the way we did, it was a big surprise to me. But I mean, I would pretty much agree with what you guys are saying about. I mean, Yanko, I thought was really good. Going forward, it didn't have as much of a challenge defensively, but then
I think once
what are you going to do?
Once Dixon got that booking, I think it was game over from his attacking point of view. Because if he get caught up too far and he had to track back, he's taking Bailey in, he's taking Yanko down. So I think Yanko's ability got Dixon booked, and therefore changed the game for him. I was a little disappointed in Yanko in the second half. Maybe if he'd started like the way he ended, it's fine. It was an efficient performance. He covered well. He got up the wing when he needed to, but he started so well and he was so bright that I thought, whoa, we're really going to maybe actually score quite a few goals here. Christian, you're going to say something?
Well, I was going to jump in with some stats, but this moment is kind of going.
No, stat me up. So we love a stat, so we do.
So Louis saying 64%, and that's by far the highest possession stat Celtics had in the league this year. The second highest is 59. So 64% is the same possession they had against Stjarnan away. So that kind of tells you a little bit how dominant they were. 6 shots against, which is the second lowest in the league this season as well. So yeah, I think that the facts, as Seth Dobson likes to call them,
the Dob man,
backs up our argument.
The unfortunate thing is we're still losing goals. That's the worry, because I know we're scoring enough for it not to matter, but there could come some games where we're not scoring enough goals.
But one thing that I would say, and right, he is a bomb scale, right? But Effie,
we can give him his name, you know.
Him, Effie actually played well. For Effie, he played well.
I thought he strolled the game. I didn't think he had a problem.
That one incident giving away a penalty to the other team.
It was a stupid challenge, though.
It was a
ridiculous challenge.
But he wasn't too bad. O'Connell, I didn't even realise was playing until about 25 minutes, half an hour in. First time I seen him on the TV. But
fuck's sake, Lou. What were you watching?
So what do you think was playing next to Effie?
I'd seen the team, but I didn't see him on the telly. But the fact that I think that's a good thing, and that he didn't stick out having done anything wrong. He was just, I don't think he ever really dwelled on the ball when he had it. He was constantly moving things along, and he was just very professional. And sitting next to Effie, as Kieran said earlier, you would be worried at that point with the two of them, him not having a lot of experience and Effie having odd experience but shite experience. It was going to be a worry, but he didn't do too bad, and it definitely shows that that is Effie's best position. He shouldn't be playing right back.
Bringing in the wonderful Chris Armani of Italian origin. Charlie Mulgrew.
Hello.
Molto bene. Charlie Mulgrew.
You just he didn't even bother saying an Italian word there. Just said an English word in an Italian accent.
Charlie Mulgrew.
You saying I can't speak Italian?
Charlie Mulgrew. Chico. We're not fans on the MS Senate podcast. Again, but as we've been done a thousand times before, and we'll continue to do it. When we're proved wrong in any way, we will put our hands up and say, look, this maybe the player didn't start out the way we thought he did, or X, Y, and Z. The point is, Mulgrew's still pish, isn't he?
Mulgrew? Yeah, he is what he is. We've always said with Mulgrew that Mulgrew's a decent player when he's not under any pressure. You pressure him and he folds.
Yeah, he was okay against Dundee United in terms of, I like that. He had time, there wasn't a lot of pressure on him. And these are games that Mulgrew, if he's still part of the squad, if he doesn't move on, will play. Back to what Kieran was saying about O'Connell, about Kim getting more games. These are the games, at post-Champions League, the Saturday or the Sunday after the Wednesday. You happy with that? You okay with that? I mean, Dundee, outside the Hearts away, Aberdeen away, maybe the odd trip to the Highlands, Dundee United really, that should be our hardest game, and we absolutely fucking strolled it.
Yeah, but look where they are just now. I mean, Christian made the point that we beat them that many times last season. Oh, is that in Periscope? Beat them that many times last season that he kind of said that we broke them a bit, but I personally think we just took all their best players, and that's why they're a bit crap now.
They were playing with two centre halves who are in their first season in the SPL, as in the top level, the Premiership. Sorry, Cole Donaldson was at QPR, but didn't really make it, so he's came back.
They were also playing. They played Suter and McGowan, and they're holding as if they short midfielders.
Yeah.
Because a centre half and a right back that were kind of sitting.
Suter is now a central defensive midfielder now. That's pretty much where they're going to play him for the rest of the season. That's where he says his best position is. Talking of that, Christian, I'm going to bring you in. McGregor seemed to come in and play in central midfield in that same sort of position. Do you think Dial has maybe seen what attributes he's got and thought, that's the place for you, because I think you were commenting and crediting him a little bit, and I thought so as well. When he first came back, his first game, maybe 2 or 3 league games ago, he looked comfortable on the ball. He looks like he's confident when he's got it, but he doesn't always have... James Forrest is someone who we criticise back and forth, but when he's on his game, and he just beats people, and he's, very direct. McGregor seems to be someone who, as I say, comfortable on the ball, has a decent pass on him. Do you think Dyla's going to mould him into that position?
And probably the biggest criticism against McGregor out wide is that he just disappears in games as anonymous. So having him in a position where he's more on the ball in the middle might actually bring out those attributes in terms of a pass, his speed, and I thought when he came through he was a bit more of a Forrest type, but having seen him, obviously it's actually, after his injuries come back as well, I think that's a good point. It was a really interesting use of him, because it's not like there's not quite a few central midfielders in the squad anyway, but I mean, I think that's, more so him in terms of having been able to play that position as well, because both out wide and central midfield there's a bigger competition. But I kind of like that, because it shows a little bit of, not stuck in a certain way, and you let players maybe develop, and I think that's a good message to send out to the squad as well, and in terms of having that all-round flexibility, but still knowing what to do in each single position.
It's more a case of, I've done it myself in Football Manager plenty of times. I've seen a player, I've seen some attributes, and I've thought, listen mate, you're not a winger. Sebastian Schweinsteiger, you're not a winger. In you come, then what does Bayern Munich do? That's all I'm saying. Kieran, what is wrong with Gary Mackay-Steven?
I don't know. He seems to have lost a bit of form, and you can see that now with the fact he's been getting dropped. And I think some days quite kind of chuffed about that. I can see the smell at the other side of the room.
That's Mackay-Steven has got 2 problems right now. One, I think he's probably carrying an injury. 2,
you were listening to Derek Racer, you were?
Needs to bulk up a bit.
Yeah.
Because if Mackay-Steven can't beat a man for pace, he's one of the weakest footballers I've seen. He's so easily muscled off the ball. I really think that's one of the things. If he doesn't beat you, then you can easily brush him off the ball. So see, when he's not flying, when he's not at the top of his form, he doesn't offer very much.
It's an interesting kind of problem Dyla's got. It's not really in that James Forrest. Hopefully, the Malmo game, James Forrest was great without really doing that much. He had an excellent game, but he still...
It was his defensive shift, I think, that made it look a bit more like he was involved in the game because he was getting back a lot and helping out.
Aye, maybe Dyla, it's eventually clicked now.
It was a couple of times in the Malmo game that it was quite frustrating. Chris Sutton picked up on it a couple of times, where he doesn't gamble. A lot of the time he kind of seems a bit hesitant to go into the box, burst in, and some of the balls that came over, he was a couple of yards behind the pace because he just didn't take that chance. And that's something that, well, hopefully you can improve on, but that hesitancy, if you think you can get in there and make that your own, probably head over the bar or something anyway, but I did notice that, and when you picked that out, I thought that's something that you could improve on.
Well, let's get back to the Malmo game. We're just going to wrap up the Dundee United game overall. Louis McCaffrey, I want your man of the match from a Celtic point of view. Who stood out for you? And I'm coming to the rest of the cynics with that as well, so have a think.
It's, I don't know, it's a bit of a toss-up. I would probably say Janko.
Because it was his first sort of...
For me, because it was his first...
exposure, really.
His first chance to really show us what he could do, and I felt as if he really done that. Possibly say Rogic as well, although he maybe didn't have the kind of flashpoints that he's had in the past, where it'll maybe show a bit of absolute brilliance, and that sticks in your mind. This was more of a consistent performance.
Yeah.
So it'd be a toss up between those two, but they were the two that left me wanting to see more of them.
Yeah, well that's a great way to put it. Kieran, I'll come to you. Just
I wouldn't say that there was any one player shined out more than the rest. I thought it was a very controlled performance. I think everyone did well. I don't think anyone had a poor game. Odd wee lapse mistakes here and there. But I'd say Roderick for me edged it over the rest of them because I think he did play quite well and some good touches and was really, really controlled.
Yeah,
and one thing back to as well with the actual game between us and Malmo, because I was reading that Malmo haven't dropped much of their team for their game at the weekend,
and they lost,
and apparently they were blown at their arse with the last 20 minutes. So it may work out quite smart for Dyer. They've been able to rest almost the whole team, get a result so that the team's fresh for Tuesday, whereas Malmo have played the game at the weekend. They seem to be more tired, and I mean the game's on Tuesday, so it's not if they've got a long recuperation. That might go in our favour. Hopefully,
great stuff. Chris Armani, any player that would stand out for you?
I would go for Rogic as well because I thought it was quite a composed performance. As I said, there's still question marks over him because he's not played a lot of football for us, etc. But the fact that he slotted in there and was quite disciplined was very pleasing, and I'd give him the nod, I think.
Great stuff.
Who actually got it, sorry?
Who actually got it?
Unlike BT Sport.
That's a good point. Who did get it?
It was Scott Allen gave it to
Griffiths. Was it Griffiths? I don't know.
No.
Why is Scott Allen choosing man of the match?
No, he gave the bottle.
Gave the bottle.
Commons?
Jesus. Yeah, it was. It was Commons. It was.
Christian, man of the match for you?
Stefan Johansson.
Of course. And of course, my man of the match was Scott Allen, who I thought was amazing. No?
Yeah.
He had 3 or 4 balls that if Stokes wasn't on the end of them, they would have been goals.
Yeah?
Oh no.
Hey, get this on Periscope. Get this face. The Scott Allen face. Get it on Periscope. Follow us on Periscope. No, okay. So, I mean, as
terrific response to the Periscope, by the way, with
32 live views.
32 live views. Thank you. I don't know if that's good or bad, but there you go.
Get back on it. Yeah.
Any comments? Why are you on Periscope? This is
what?
shit.
What is Periscope?
What is Periscope?
Who are the 4 Marx brothers?
Yeah, that's it. There you go. There's the Marx brothers there. Skepovic is gone, right? Like he's definitely going to go.
Yes.
Who to?
It was not Hiho?
Not a.
No.
Oh Jesus! It's Maccabi Tel Aviv. I've heard.
It's the Spanish mob are more ahead.
Tel Aviv are the team that have literally
The
lodged.
Spanish mob are ahead of Tel Aviv for it.
They've lodged.
Hold on, are you trying to say that there's 2 clubs fighting over Skepovic?
Pretty much, aye. Anyway, my man of the match, Alan. Blah blah blah. I thought everyone played well, and as Kieran says, I think it was a great team performance. Commons, who we have criticised, I thought was great. And if Commons is happy to play in these games and not necessarily start the Champions League games or the Europa League games, we'll see what we're at then by Friday. But if he's happy to come into these games, then our squad is looking pretty, from an attacking point of view, minus the striker maybe. Sweet.
Well, that's one thing I was going to say. Gordon Strachan raised the point of how it'd affect those players mentally coming into the game when so many players had been rested, obviously with the Malmo game in mind, because right away you're thinking, am I only getting a game here because clearly I'm not going to be playing on Tuesday in the big game?
Aye.
But to be fair to the Celtic players that came in, they didn't show that attitude. They clearly showed that they wanted to take their chance, and a number of them did. So it's good to see that from a mentality point of view, the squad is clearly hungry and happy to kind of play their part.
Great stuff. We're just going to go now we're going to look back at the Malmo game now, and it was
better get a kettle on.
Yeah, funnily enough, I've been talking to people about it in work and so forth, just from a social point of view, Christopher.
Yeah.
Yep, over some wine.
Yeah.
Better hide the remotes as well. It's Armani about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's not mention that.
Might as well.
Yeah, you smashed your telly.
Yeah.
Get that.
At what point? At what point in the match?
At what point in the match? Around 5 minutes into injury time.
And you just picked up your remote and smashed the telly.
Well, I was holding the remote, adjusting the volume to just the right level.
For what?
Well,
attack.
I'm a conscientious neighbour. I don't want to be, too noisy.
What a gentleman.
Shortly, 2 seconds later, that was right out the window. essentially what happened was, I don't know if people are aware, but we conceded a late goal to former dud Joe Inge Berget.
No, I think he's still a dud.
Oh, yes, well, yes, no, he's
Still a dud.
still
not,
a dud.
not for the first time either.
Well, wonderful double from the former player. So I winged my remote, full pelt at the telly, and it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
So, and then I made a loud noise,
Yeah.
sort of along the lines of "fuck" over and over again. And my wife came into the room and said, "What happened?" And I said, "Nothing." And she looked at the screen, and there was all these fucking pixels and weird shit on
Did it look quite beautiful?
Aye. It looked really beautiful when she looked at me, looked at the TV, looked back at me, shook her head and walked out. And yeah, a bit frosty for
yeah.
an hour or two after that. But yeah, it's the first time I've ever broke a telly. I mean, I've watched a lot of Celtic games in my time and been frustrated quite a few times.
Brian O'Neill falling.
Oh, aye, that's right. Yep. No, didn't break the TV that day. No, but aye, fuck. If we want to set up a PayPal account to get me a new TV,
absolutely,
feel free. But yeah, guys, stay safe out there because it could happen to you.
Okay, so moving on, and God bless you, Sir Manny, by the way. I've got a question for Christian Wolf. Oh.
Let's not do that.
So before we go over the
Whoa, here's a joke I just thought of.
love it, go on.
If Christian was 13, what would you call him?
I don't know.
Teen Wolf.
I could be 19.
Between the ages of 13 and 19, what could you call Christian?
I'm glad
What?
you smashed your TV.
What would you call me if I was a pilot?
Airwolf?
Right, okay. Let's leave it.
What would you call Christian, right? If he mercilessly slaughtered, I don't know, a herd of sheep. A big scary wolf.
Right, okay. If you've got your wolf puns, tweet us at 90MinuteCynic. No, don't, please. Before we kind of look back at the Malmo game and the events that led to Chris smashing his TV, Joshua Templeman, at Joshua Templeman, he tweeted us a question. Thanks for listening, Joshua. He asks, well, there's two parts, but the second part of it, the first part relates to a Celtic lineup. The second part is, would Rosenberg get a game for Celtic, and is he better than Griffiths? Now, I remember Rosenberg when he was playing for Werder, when he was in the Bundesliga, and he wasn't very good for West Brom. A lot of that's to do with the fact he was playing for West Brom. Not seen a lot of him recently. Just thoughts?
I think it would fit nicely into the squad. I think he's quite an old-fashioned forward in that he's not have any extreme attributes in terms of speed or strength or technique, but he's quite good in all parts.
Yeah.
So he suits well, I think, in the 4-4-2, and he'd probably be a better option than Shifty in terms of having a slightly bigger man there. I don't think he's better than Griffiths. No, I wouldn't swap him with Griffiths, especially in the form he's in.
Lovely
Good
little
question.
Yeah, good question. Lovely way just to kind of open up our thoughts on Malmo. It finished, like you don't know, 3-2 to Celtic. Griffiths got 2. The whole debate about whether Griffiths should start or, Shifty, and, he got 2 in probably the most important game of the season so far. His all-round game I thought was good. I thought Celtic, we should have been out of sight by half time, frankly. Johansson missed a big chance. Christian, I'm looking at you for no reason.
It wasn't that big.
It was a big chance. Then, obviously, from a defensive point of view, we lost Lustig. Ambrose was brought in at right back. His challenge, shall we say, that didn't really happen, led to the corner, which then, of course, led to their equaliser, which, of course, led to Chris losing his telly.
The blame for that, I don't think, should solely fall on Effie. I think Mr. Johansson's got a lot to answer for.
Let's
See
hear
all that
this.
arsing
You
about.
saying that?
See
You
all-
saying that?
see-
The country of Norway
See all that arsing about with that player with the ball, it led to a yellow card. See if he'd have left that alone, the players would, because it seems as if the players are all ready. They're all ready for the free kick coming in. This all happens, and then everybody switches off, and then they never switch back on for the ball coming in. And I think that's how we lost the goal. I think him kind of distracting play by just leave the ball alone. Who cares? What are you fucking kicking about for?
Yeah. Christian,
but let's focus on the last goal and let's blame FA a bit, because I think you saw by Virgil's reaction to his supposedly tackle. For
a big guy, it was the weakest tackle I've ever
either
seen.
you go in 100% there, or you rather just
Stand
hold
off
back, don't let him get a cross in. And Virgil was mad as hell. You can see in his reaction. And I also think that's caused Virgil to try and clean up the mess when the corner came in as well. Because what happens if you see the replay, Berger is actually quite smart in terms of he bumps into Virgil, and then Virgil should have just stood his ground, but instead he bumps back, and then he tries and go for the header, which is way too late for, and then the ball falls into Berger, where Virgil should have stood. So it's a case of Virgil being really exasperated with FA. Even after Johansson has tried to cleverly got a yellow card to calm Virgil down and give him some time.
There's a bit of heat here between Kieran and Christian.
There's always a bit of heat there.
Okay, you made it weird, mate. That was just to confirm that wasn't me.
I'm glad that wasn't Periscope. But yeah, so I think there's a chain of events there that all led to Sermanni's TV going into 1,000 pieces.
Exactly. See, if it wasn't Effie you're talking about Johansson, you'd have a telly. Louis McCaffrey, Houseboy's favourite.
Hi.
Thoughts on the game overall, and do you think that in terms of reactions afterwards, people have forgot that we won?
Yeah. You alright? Yeah. Thoughts overall, I thought Celtic played well. Best start I've seen Celtic have probably in any game under Dyla. The start was just fantastic. Obviously, there's part of that has got to be due to the fact that maybe Malmo didn't have a great start themselves, but Celtic came right firing out the traps, and it really was good to see. I thought we more or less dominated the game. It was, I think you could quite clearly see it was going to be the same old Celtic of it was going to be our own fault if we didn't win that game and win it comfortably, and I kind of think that's how it kind of panned out. Rather than them being this fantastic side, which I really didn't think they were. I wasn't really impressed with Malmo at all, to be honest with you. But we constantly seem to look like we could shoot ourselves in the foot at any moment, and I think maybe a lot to do with it is just nerves because the stakes are so high.
A lot of these players haven't played at this level. Guys like Armstrong and even Griffiths, this is the kind of first sort of games where they've really had the weight of the entire club on their shoulders. Of course. So that's to be expected, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. But no, I mean, there was some good performances. Big Virgil was really, really good.
Showed his class.
He really did show his class. I'm a massive
critic of him, but he did show his class, I thought.
He did. Personally, I would blame him. For me, I think if he's coming for that header at the time it's at, I want him to clear Beaton out and just stick his head in that ball. Fair enough, the two of them were very eager to get it, and the zonal marking probably confused things because everything was so tight. But for me, if Virgil is going to do that, he has to jump up and just get his head on that ball, regardless if he needs to take a Celtic player out. You go for it and get it done.
Clear your lines.
Clear your lines, absolutely. If in doubt,
put it
out. But yes, I think a lot of people, including, and I include myself in this, absolutely, a lot of people totally missed the fact that Celtic won the game, but it was hard to try and remember that. I mean, at the end of the game, I was on such a downer, as a lot of people were. It was hard not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add that to Louis as well. The late goal kind of hides what a good performance it was in terms of, I don't think Malmö is a decent team. They're not great, but I don't think they're at least as good as Karabag. But they just couldn't cope with Celtic, and to come out in that game, the most important game of the league season so far, probably the whole season, together with tomorrow, was very impressive, and it showed that they really, they've come a long way since last year. But then again, they're not quite there. But you see, the individual mistakes and a little bit of not too clinical. So, but it's if you look at it in the cold day of light,
cold light of day, yeah, that
cold light of day. It's okay. I got an excuse. I'm a foreigner. It looks a lot better performance than Wes Lewis says when you get over that big downer.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think if you, fair enough, they're at home, fair play to them, but I think Malmo have the harder game tomorrow night in terms of what they've got to do and who they're playing against. I think Celtic are favourite. I think we have to be favourites. We won the game. We beat them. We showed. I think we showed we were a better team. There's not any of their players that I would have in the Celtic team. So I think we should be a bit more optimistic about things, personally.
I'm going to come to Kieran with a question, and then I'm going to come to Chris Armani with a question. Kieran, in fact, actually, before we do that, Rudy McDonald, he tweets in us a lot. Thanks for listening, Rudy. I want some perspective on the very good first leg performance and some optimism for tomorrow. Well, that's what we're doing. We'll get to predictions.
You came to the right place.
Came to the right place, fella. Kieran, Darren Smith at Thurso Boy. Well, how shite is Izzy now? Question mark, very, exclamation mark, and then the wee ghost face doing that. Hashtag egg on face, hashtag pie on face. I don't know if that's aimed at us or what. But Kieran, how shite is Izzy now?
Very.
Boom! There you go. There's your answer. In terms of his performance,
He's getting away with it because there's no one else to play there. There's so many times he gets in good positions and he's crossing his pool.
Yeah,
he's got time. He should be putting in a better ball at times for his crosses.
He's horrifically bad.
I think if he'll be told to perform like Karabakh, like he did a good performance in Karabakh, but he was told just to stay and defend. Yeah. Which I think our game plan will be similar to Karabakh. I think we'll be a bit more controlled.
Would you be tempted with Mulgrew to put Mulgrew in at left back?
No. I think if Izzy performed the way he did against Karabakh, that was a good performance. That was a solid, strong performance.
I thought it was one of the best performances I've seen in years.
A defensive unit, it worked, and that's what we need. Ultimately, we need to keep a clean sheet tomorrow. But we can't afford to. Because if we lose one, we need to score two. Am I confident we're going to score 2 goals? I don't know. I'm not sure.
But
so one goal pushes it when away goals.
Yeah,
I think the one big thing about Mulgrew is their right winger. For all he was talked up before the game, I didn't think he was that great, but he has got a bit of pace about him.
Yeah,
and as he can at least keep up, he'll probably half it in the box and give away a penalty. But Mulgrew would get left halfway up the pitch.
Their left back's terrible, which brings me into my question for Chris Armani. Darren Smith again makes the point. So you've got a 2-edged point. Surely a half-fit Lustig is a better option than a fully fit Effie. That's the first point, and then that's the first question. But then he makes a point: Forrest to have the game of his career, 2-0 Celtic. James Forrest, talk me through his performance in the first leg. Periscope. Oh, we're periscope.
You look terrific.
Thank you. I'm only breathing. The Forrest, I thought, was good without creating anything spectacular. If you know what I mean, he didn't, create anything spectacular. It was an effective performance. He gave them problems all night, but he never kind of got through, made a killer pass or anything like that. For me, he completely justified his selection in front of Mackay-Steven, who I think right now, I think we said it earlier on, might have an injury, and I do think if he's not beating a guy for pace, he finds it difficult to get past him.
Gary Mackay-Steven, I think, has got something else on his mind. It looks to me like he's carrying I don't think it's his ability that's holding him back just now. I think it's his lack of. I don't know. There's something wrong to me.
But he must be hiding it from the medical team in Dyla. For
no, I don't. I know. He looks like he's got something on his mind, like something personal or something like that. Just the way he's like Dickie Divers is just now in ICW. It's like he's literally
turning up but can't be asked.
It's not that he can't be asked, turning up but no confidence in his ability because of something. I might be talking shite, I'll be honest with you, but at the same time, it's
the question there. Their minds is who's Dickie Divers.
That's the point. But yeah, anyway, sorry. So Forrest.
Yeah, so Forrest, he's justified his selection ahead of Mackay Stephen, and I would definitely start him tomorrow. On to the next point. Half fit Lustig better than a completely fully fit Effie Ambrose. No, not necessarily. There's no point in getting Lustig in to give us a half a performance and then be out for a long period of time. If he's not fit enough to start the game, we shouldn't start him. I mean, I know that the alternative's Effie, and that petrifies me as much as anyone, but there's no point in playing Lustig if he's not fit, because you're not going to get a good performance out of him, and you're only going to forfeit him for the whole season.
Yeah, agreed.
If we're going to go,
well, this brings me into someone else who's made the point. Robert Sherry at Politest Ouija, a constant tweeter. Thanks again, Robert. Janko, Lustig or Janko, he goes with.
That's a risk. I mean, Janko looked good going forward against Dundee United for the first half, but see, Periscope, I found out what it was tonight, and can I be honest with you?
I hate it.
I hate it. It's crap. It's crap. There's a reason I'm not on television, right? It's because I didn't want to go on.
Yeah, that's
the reason. Get the remotes out of the reach of Salmani.
I did apply for Countdown one time.
Lustig. You didn't.
No, I did.
No. Lustig, Janko or Effie, I guess.
Oh, Christ. Janko's... He's too raw, he's too young. I mean, he's untested. Do you know, we don't know how he's going to perform. Attacking wise against Dundee United, he looked quite good, but defensively, you don't know what he's going to be like. So that's a major risk. Ambrose, that's just a petrifying thought.
Yeah,
I'd rather he wasn't there. If Lustig is going to be as unfit as we assume he is, given the fact he was bubbling in the sidelines last.
Well, he's travelled.
Heartbreaking.
He's travelled.
What else is he going to do on a Tuesday night? He probably get.
He's trained
for the game. You know?
He's trained tonight.
Aye.
There's pictures on.
If he can make it, and it's not just stupidity, it's a no-brainer. But I would be very surprised. I mean, did anybody here think that he wouldn't be out for several months at least, the way he was reacting?
But maybe that was just a reaction, like. You know yourself, in terms of someone who's consistently injured, any sort of bump or anything brings the worst out in them.
Just on the Janko thing, I would play Janko ahead of Effie at right back. Absolutely.
Christian Wolf, I'll come at you. Actually, no, Kieran, you go. Who?
I wouldn't. I would have Effie, because Effie is experienced. Effie knows what is required. He just needs to do it. He can't do it, but like Samai says, Janko is very, very young, very, very inexperienced. I mean, he came from the Man United young team. He was when it was loan,
Bolton.
Was it Bolton?
Man United young team.
I don't know. I don't know how many games he's got for Bolton. So he's not had a lot of experience, and with this game being so critical, we need somebody in there with experience that knows what's going to be required
to get the job done.
It has to be Effie or
so Effie over Janko. Oh, actually, before you, Effie or Lustig?
Like Smiley says, I would, if Lustig's fit enough and strong enough to play at least 70 odd minutes without aggravating his injury, then he would play. But
you're not going to know that. You're not just not.
Well, the medical team should know. If he's training, they'll be doing all sorts of tests on his injury. I think it was his hamstring anyway. They'll do some sort of kind of lean test on it to see how strong it holds up.
See, my fear would be that 10 minutes into the game he pulls up and then you're using your first substitute after 10 minutes.
Well, that happened in Inter. That Icardi pulled up in the warm up. They risked him. It only lasted 10 minutes to come off.
Christian, thoughts on the sort of Janko position?
I think that's a really tough one. I think it kind of comes down to what kind of game will be played as well, which is, I think, is really hard to predict in terms of if it's going to be quite a cagey Karabakh kind of style, or if it's just going to be another shootout. It can easily be both. A lot of that will depend on how Malmö's set up. I am, like Kieran, tempted to say FA because I think, for all his fault, he is better when he starts than when he comes on, in terms of I don't know if that even makes any sense. But I think if you get him in the right frame of mind, if you just tell him, FA, just don't fuck up. Just
is that what he's not been telling him that before?
Play safe, you know. I think he is experienced. His height is good on set pieces, which I think Malmö are strong on, and there will be a lot on. So I don't know why. You kind of say, well, put Janko on because he's talented. He's a better player than FA. But you kind of also go, they could be the kind of match where he just crumbles as well, and we don't know what he's made of yet. We know what FA is made of. Which might not be a good thing, but if somebody put a gun to my, I think I actually would go with FA or Janko.
Here's a question, Stephen Hughes at Stephen Hughes. Thanks for tuning in, Stephen. This is his sort of thought. He thinks that injuries in Malmo, that the home leg against Malmo played a big part in not closing it out, which is obviously quite an interesting point, and one we'd all probably agree in, mainly due to Lustig's injury. He asks. Was that a deliberate tactic from Malmo? You think Malmo were dirty? Because this brings us now into the comments that they've been making in terms of post-match. I mean, they've been very, very confident. The way they're talking, it's as if the tie's already over, frankly.
Is it not the other way around? I feel it's more of a scare tactics. I think they're actually scared of us.
Oh, no, of course. No,
they're tried to rattle us and wind us up with some of the language they've been using, and then they've...
it's like if you see a bear in the woods, you make yourself as big as you can to scare it off, right? But we are fucking...
I would run, mate.
No, I'd probably just shit my pants.
Just so you're aware, black bears are the fastest land animals outside of cheetahs in the world.
It's not catching me, but...
Aye, well, it's not catching. We're not talking about a McCaffrey special.
But the injuries weren't down to the other team. They were all strains. Like,
I didn't ask the question. Stop! Why are you attacking me?
Because you're actually asking the question.
Sorry, friend.
But no, because Armstrong and Lustig were both kind of strains. Bitton was actually, he jarred his knee wrongly. I thought it was his thigh, but it was his knee. I think it was a wee caught. His studs get caught. So they weren't really. I didn't really think they were much of a dirty team. I don't think there was any really, really hard tackles.
I thought there was a couple of really bad tackles in the first half, where if not a booking, then a booking. There was a couple of them I thought pretty tasty. They called us pigs, Louis. They called us pigs.
See this guy? I don't know who this age guy thinks he is, right? But
it wasn't the age that called us pigs.
No, it was a goalkeeper.
No, but I really don't like age. Age just comes across like a bit of a dick.
Purposely saying his name long.
Age. Hold on, you're going to deal with this. I really don't like the guy. I don't think he's came across well at all. He seems to be
an arsehole.
Yes, absolutely, but very confident. But there doesn't seem to be any class about the guy at all. Like, I don't think he's showing Celtic any respect at all, and it's a shame because you see him, like when Ronnie Dyler was giving his interview before the game last week. After he kind of walked away from the camera was still rolling, and he met Age, right? He met Age, and they were all pals, big hugging each other, and how you doing? Aye, how's Glasgow? All that kind of chat, and then he gets in front of the camera and starts slagging us off, talking about how Malmo were a better team. If Malmo were a better team, they would have beat us. We beat them, and we gave them 2 goals.
He looks like the sort of older sleazeball.
He's a creep
that shouldn't use Tinder but does.
So
Age.
So Åge.
Age. Shut up. It's spell Age. Come
age.
on.
Now you can come across as a bit of an arsehole because
let me defend them. Let me defend them here. I'm going to defend them here.
Norway. You jumped on my joke now. That was going to be my second line, but yeah, he's always been a bit like this. In terms of a little bit arrogant, a little bit. Don't forget. And sleazeball.
In Norwood, did they go, Åge? Not again.
Pretty much. And it's just the way it is. It's not. I think he's also at a stage of his career when he doesn't really care what he says. because he's pretty much retired. So yeah, but I don't think overall Malmo has helped himself in terms of the comments, in terms of the way they've handled the media, because they're giving Celtic a lot of free motivation as such, and it's really fired up the Celtic fans as well. So I think they've been a little bit inexperienced.
But he's not an inexperienced manager. Why is he we all know that he's trying to get under our skin, and he's got under my skin, frankly, and the players have. But it's counterproductive.
Yeah, and he's coming across as a little bit of an old fool.
Yeah,
in terms of, I think he wants to try and
he's coming across very bitter.
I think he wants to be a little bit like a Mourinho, but he's never going to be that. So he's also got a very good tan, which always makes him a bit suspicious in terms of.
I think he's just
Northern Europeans. Yeah,
he's trying to force our players into making rash challenges because of that. Frustrated and rather angry at their comments that they've been saying, and trying to get us down to 10 men so that it becomes easier for them. Yeah,
I mean, Charlie Mulgrew says we'll do our talking on the park. I mean, hopefully he'll do it from the subs bench, but we'll do our talking on the
park. Celtic has been very disciplined in terms of their comments. You could have had a lot of players, biting back on that, but they seem very quite cool and collected.
Let me interrupt and jump in before you. Actually, make your point.
But quickly, before you get another shred of analysis out of me, Arsenal Liverpool on mute. Come on.
1 second. That's a good point. I'll get Arsenal Liverpool on in just a second. Here's just an interesting point. Malmo have not conceded in their last 9 UEFA qualifying home games. They've won 6 and they've drawn 3. Since Rangers earned a 1 each draw in August 2011. They've not lost in 11 qualifying matches at Malmo's new stadium, 1-7, drawn 4, since a 1-0 defeat by Swiss Thun in August 2005.
That's fine, no, good enough for us.
Celtic remain unbeaten in 5 games against Swedish teams, with record 4 wins, 1 draw.
They're getting pumped tomorrow.
Oh, Jesus, that's great analysis, Louis. Come on, have a bit of class. I expect more from you. No, I don't actually.
No, I wouldn't.
Malmo are unbeaten in 2 home matches against Scottish sides. 1-1 drawn 1. That was against Rangers. Celtic's Glasgow neighbours, Rangers. They don't exist. Safe call and all that. Date zombies. Shut up. So I mean, the point is, we're going into this match a goal ahead, but we've got the 2 conceded away goals. Just looking at some of the stats from the first match, Christian, you're going right to your phone. You're trying to beat me to stats.
One thing I noticed that I think we won't experience in Sweden was how far back their forwards played off our defenders. See, every time I seen the Bears play out from the back, see them in at 2 centre halves had the ball. See their strikers, there was no pressure whatsoever. They actually took a step back and they allowed the centre halves to have the ball, which I don't think they'll be doing that in Sweden. So
that changed
that too much.
That changed for a good 10-15 minutes in the second half, where they started pressing us, which actually led to their Berget's first goal. They literally were on the front foot, and I turned to my dad. I was watching the game with my dad, so I was like, "This is a completely different team from the first half." I didn't see a lot from Malmo that made me think that they were anything more than Aberdeen, just maybe a bit better. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they are a Champions League team. I don't necessarily think we're a Champions League team either, but I think we're better than them.
I think it's the fact that our goals were not actually worked goals by themselves. It was our mistakes.
It's always our fucking mistakes.
Yeah. You look at that. You look at United as well. You look at Kilmarnock as well. All the goals we've now conceded in the last, which is quite a worry. We went about 4 or 5 games without conceding. Then all of a sudden, the last 3 or 4 we've conceded. I don't know off the top of my head, about 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're now starting to make kind of errors, and they've all been our errors. It's not as if it's been a really well worked goal by the opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking forward to the game, I just want to give you some stats from the actual match in Glasgow. We had 57% possession. They had 43%. This might surprise people. They had 10 attempts on goal. 4 of them were on target. 2 of them were blocked. We had 8 attempts on goal, and 4 of them were on target. Obviously, 3 of those were actual goals themselves. two of them off target, two blocked. The thing with that is we've obviously got more a better chance rate in terms of getting the ball on target, but they still had 10 attempts. That's still a little bit worrying, Chris, for you. The fact that maybe even though we dominated possession, these, Malmo still made 10 attempts at goal.
Yeah. A lot of people have said to me that they don't particularly recall Malmo being that threatening out with the goals. And in terms of clear-cut opportunities, the only one I can really think was when Gordon made a really
brilliant save
down low, which was another, if memory serves, it was an unnecessary error that kind of led to them getting that chance. And a lot of people are saying that that they didn't seem that much of a threat. I think we contained them fairly well. My worry isn't what Malmo can do, and it isn't how well we're going to be able to defend for most of the match. It's the very fact that we make catastrophic mistakes, sometimes in big matches, sometimes in matches where it matters less, such as Inverness. However, it's something that we seem able and continually do. The biggest worry that I have is that, basically, that when things are looking good, everything's going smooth, there's a panic button and it's red and it's shiny, it just looks lovely, and we just push it like that.
I usually get Effie's 5 fingers on top of it.
Pretty much.
Total Recall reference. I don't know if you even realised. Robert J. Doyle. Actually, we've kind of covered this. Simple question for me: who this from me this week? Who would you have at your fullback positions in Malmo? He'd go for Mulgrew and Janko. So let's say both your fullbacks. I know we mentioned earlier Janko or Effie. Fullbacks, Kieran, for you, Izzy and Effie.
If Lustig's not fit, yes, Effie.
Let's just say we're on the basis that we're never going to know if he's fit or not. Would you take the risk?
Until tomorrow.
No, but you know what I mean? Would you take the risk on Lustig, or would you just go, fuck it?
I don't know. I mean, at what point do we say the injury's not good enough to... If he can sustain 70-80 minutes, then...
One bad tackle, though, might just completely screw him.
But it's Effie.
I know, no, listen, hey, and it's Lustig. Frankly, he's a handsome man.
But I mean, it would be Izzy on the left. I would.
So you don't have any qualms about Izzy in the left?
No, I'd happy have Izzy, and just to be explained, just like see the way you played at Karabakh, another performance like that.
Okay.
Just don't go too kung ho as much. Just concentrate on your defensive qualities.
Okay.
Those 1 or 2 things you have.
Christian Wolf, your fullbacks?
They are Mika Lustig and Emilio Izagiri.
So just that, you're going straight for that?
Going straight for that.
Yeah, so even with the kind of injury qualms over...
Go for it.
Yeah, love it. Amazing. Louis?
There's no way Effie Ambrose can play in this game. If we want to win, he cannot even be in Sweden. We should get him in a car,
Get him over the border, whatever border.
Why did we go and we kidnap him? Us 5
Well,
we
that's
go
a
to
bit sinister.
a wagon and we can go for
Is it
The
not-
90 minutes in are not associated with Kieran Harron's claims of kidnap.
Plus, it's pretty pricey for a pint over there.
Yeah, how are we going to celebrate after when we do
Plus,
kidnap him?
hey, just so that you know that we wouldn't be drinking pints then driving. Just in
Of
case
course.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
the Swedish authorities are listening.
That's what Effie's for there. He's there to drive and do what he's told.
He wouldn't even do that, right? He'd kill you. For me, I really do not want to see Effie Ambrose play right back again for us, and especially not in a game as huge as this. I think he becomes too isolated when he's at right back. People, when he's one-on-one with anyone in the wide areas, he either doesn't put in the right tackle, a strong enough tackle, or they end up taking it by him anyway. I think they targeted Effie as soon as he came on last week. They looked as if they were shutting up shop, happy with 3-1, and then Effie comes on and they bring a winger on to oppose him right away and get in his face. So clearly they had they knew right away he's a weakness. So I wouldn't want him anywhere near right back. If Lustig is... it's a huge gamble. I think if he plays, if he can make it, there is no way he's going to be doing the running up and down the pitch. But that might be all right. That might actually suit in a way, if he was more defensively minded, rather than try to kind of offer something offensively. Janko, I think, done well the other night.
He also played the Kilmarnock game, remember?
Yeah, clearly the boy himself is very offensive, which is what Dyla likes to play. If he's going to play his usual style, then I think Janko would fit that better than Effie.
Yeah.
But for me, just definitely not Effie. And if it has to be Janko, then fair enough. Izzy, I was getting really angry with in the first leg and really find him appalling. But he's I think it'd be difficult to put Mulgrew in at left back instead of him. Yes, Mulgrew played alright against Starnan.
Yeah.
When he played at left back, but that was a totally different kind of level of opposition and type of game. Because I don't think we're going to dominate this one, so I think we need to have a bit of pace there. And if, as Kieran says, if Izzy can kind of, I don't think it's a case of being told. I mean, like Christian was saying earlier about Effie just telling him do the simple things. He must be told that every week, because there's no way that you would not. I mean, we are fans. We don't even see him in training, and we know the guy has to just keep it simple. So he's clearly been told that, and he's not doing it. Izzy, it has worked. Clearly, it worked before against Karabakh. Let's see if it can work. But I think long term for Celtic, he has to go.
Just looking at, we've got quite a few questions. We've got quite a lot of questions about how the squad is developing and if we qualify for the Champions League, who we buy, etc. We'll actually leave that to next week, because next week is just the 31st. Isn't it? Or it's the first. Why the fuck? Everyone's looking at the Arsenal-Liverpool game. Can you pay attention, please?
Transfer window will shut a couple of hours after our podcast next week.
Okay, so we can kind of cover what's happening in terms of...
The other thing is, tomorrow night dictates so much in terms of the transfer window. So.
Exactly, and what we can do. So we'll get to those questions next week, absolutely. We got a comment from Jordan at ElJordo88. He basically says... talking about going up top, and this also kind of goes into what Stevie Mack's asking. He's asking, will there be any curveball inclusions in terms of the first 11? I think we can all pick.
I think Shifty is the one curveball.
Dirk.
Oh, Jesus. So, I mean, Kieran's mentioning Shifty. That brings up the El Jordo's point. Griffiths to start, surely. Reckon we need to snuff this mob out early, and still don't think Shifty's up for it yet. It's one of those where we're going to need an outball, but will we need an outball where it's someone holding it up, or will we need someone to run the channels? That's obviously the two sort of games that they both play. If we look at how effective or ineffective, I'm a Shifty fan, but he was rather ineffective against Karabakh, and I think that's not necessarily his fault. Curveball inclusions, exclusions. Christian, thoughts on that?
I think it's a very interesting consideration what Ronnie does tactically in terms of Malmö is not expecting Celtic to go out hard. They expect them to sit back. I kind of tempted to say, look, Celtic should just go for it the first 10-15 minutes. Play Griffiths.
Try and get a goal.
Play Forrest and really attack them first, the first part of the first half. And then if they can get a goal or come on the front foot, I think then it's a good case of, say, after 60 minutes, after Griffiths has run himself into the ground, to put Shifty on to hold it up and just close it out. It's really hard to see. I still think Celtic is one goal better than Malmö, at least over 2 legs, and I think they'll go through. But in terms of what kind of game it's going to be tomorrow, I have no idea.
Chris, what sort of game is it going to be tomorrow in terms of how Dyla's going to set himself out? Or how? Let me put it another way, how would you set it out? What would the Chris Armani tactic be to set out? Buy Totti? Would you try and buy Totti tonight?
Buy Totti and play him at right back. Tomorrow is just going to be Brown Drawers City for me. I'm not
I'm terrified. I'm actually. I'm
I'm totally petrified.
I'm really glad it's tomorrow and not Wednesday.
Just want it out of the way.
It's
One way or the other, I just want it out of the way.
It's exactly. I mean, it's jeez. How are they going to set up? Dial will set up the same way. I think we might be a bit more withdrawn, like we were against Karabag. People are saying that they didn't think Malmo were that impressive attacking wise in the first leg. I anticipate them attacking a lot.
Well, they've got Rosenberg back.
Got Rosenberg back, and it's been leaked pretty comprehensively in Sweden that they're going to play a 4-4-2 tomorrow with Rosenberg and Georgios up top. And Wolf Akram back on the bench, so they'll look like a standard 4-4-2. Like
that's going to suit us, though.
I think it does, at least unless Georgios and Rosenberg will probably press quite high and quite often, and they probably go for it. So it's almost counterintuitive. I think almost Celtic should go for it as well, because there's going to be really quickly be a shootout in the first 10-15 minutes, and you see 2-3 goals again.
Yeah,
and I think in the end, it does kind of suit us, even though you went to Karabag and just nullify them. I think there's still at least one mistake in that Celtic team tomorrow, so I think we should at least get a goal to null that one out.
2 up top, I think, is too dangerous for us, because that would therefore have our centre halves marking a man each, which means there's not one to back each other up. So if there's a mistake,
but we've got an extra man in midfield.
But then that extra man would have to sit quite deep, and Boyle almost have to pick up one of those forwards, because if you've got both Boyata and Van Dijk both having a striker each against them, if one makes a mistake, there's nobody there to cover in the back, because you see that quite well, that Virgil can covers round behind Boyata for any mistakes and does that quite effectively. Whereas if that happens and Virgil falls his man, then the midfielders have got to be totally switched on to make sure the man that Virgil's left, he gets tracked as well. But it might depend on position and how it can be.
Don't you think it's easier to play against a sort of structured, rigid 4-4-2 than it is to play against a more fluid 4-2-3-1?
Well, not always, because then if you've got the one moving around, you've got the 2 midfielders to look after one, and then you get the 2 centre halves to look after one.
But we literally
so they're looking after each other and kind of covering each other.
Yeah, but I think that we literally, if they go 4-4-2, as you say, you're right. You got Boyata and Virgil who's going to match up man for man. But that's what centre half should be doing anyway. Do you know what I mean? If you're a centre half, you should know when to mark and when to. I think it's. But easy. Then they might be more liable to mistakes, but it makes their job infinitely easier.
Well, it'll make it easier for the counter. I think if the fact they've got 2 strikers,
and we get the
two boys. I'm pretty sure in the build up to the first leg they were talking about the kind of 4-4-2 in the system that they play, and I'm sure that was said that they don't really play 2 up as a partnership. It's more
one
higher up, one kind of dropping a bit deeper.
I like how we would play if it was Shifty and Griffiths, for example.
Yeah. So I think your man Rosenberg, maybe Beaton would be kind of trying to kind of keep tabs on him, whereas Virgil and Boyata would be more concerned with the other boy whose name I can't pronounce.
Can I jump in? Sorry, I'll get right back to you. What did you think of Boyata's distribution when he had the ball at the home leg? Because we played everything through him from the back, and I like we said, some of his distribution was fucking woeful. We've highlighted how good a defender he is. We've highlighted how powerful he is, and we've highlighted all of his attributes. But Virgil gave him the ball every single time. He would have time and space, and time again, he would choose the wrong option. Now, that might have a lot to do with people not dropping for him as well, as much as anything. But I'm scared when he's got the ball and he's in space.
Bombscare Jr.
Do you know what I mean?
He's Effie's younger brother, but
he's not, because he's a really good defender.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I think he is. I think he's great. I just think that is one aspect of his game that him with space and with more than one option, 60-70% he's choosing the wrong option.
I'm starting to worry about him personally, but we could talk about that later.
Yeah,
I think Van Dijk playing the ball to him for him to distribute is kind of what he done with Denier.
But who's off to Turkey?
Who's off to Turkey?
Good package deals at this time.
And Boyata is not Denier. They're not. for me, they're nowhere near kind of similar enough to play the same way. If anybody should be playing it out and
Should be
distributing
Virgil.
it should be Virgil. If Boyata could get it down, do the defensive duties, get it to Virgil. Virgil should be the one playing the ball. But
Boyata looks a little bit slow though. Virgil can cover with pace, and I think that's maybe the point. Yeah.
Do you want to know what I would do?
Aye, go for it, Hen.
Well, if I was Ronnie, right, I would absolutely go for it and batter them. I want it. I want it.
Sir Manny's looking. Where's the periscope there? The disgust on Sir Manny's face.
I want us to play our strengths. Our strength is attacking, playing attacking football and trying to score goals. I don't think our strength in any way is our defence right now, especially if we're going to have to make changes to it. I think, and I would possibly like it to just be a shootout. Just go for it. As much pace as we can possibly hit them with. Counter them. Forrest, Griffiths, Mackay, Stephen. Go for it.
Face. Look at his cheeky wee face. Go for it.
Aye, just go for it. Outscore them. Because they have to win. And I think the fact that we can draw the game and go through is a bit of a bonus in that way. They have to win. As long as we score as many goals as they do, we're sorted, we're through. But I don't want this. The Karabakh game when we went away was absolutely painful to watch at times.
But it was tactically fantastic.
Tactically, aye, but when we're talking about the big mistakes that Celtic are prone to, then
Did we make
you're
any
putting
mistakes in Karabakh?
You're putting so many.
Did you make any big mistakes in Karabakh?
Stop talking. It's my turn. You're putting so much pressure on yourself.
Did we make any mistakes in Karabakh?
Listen, right?
Did we? You haven't answered the question yet.
Listen, we need to go score some goals.
Yes. I love your attitude. I love
Goals.
I love your chutzpah. I love your how you're putting yourself across.
Don't defend.
But it's so wrong.
No.
Yeah. Give the microphone to a big boy though now, because it's time. You need to go be put down for your wee nap.
Do you know what? See if we play defensive. I told you.
Do you need your
No, you
nappy
didn't.
changed? Your nappy changed?
Right, let's get away from that. It's kind of weird. I think we'd all agree. We know our centre halves. We know the goalkeeper. Izzy or Mulgrew. Put your hand up if you think it'll be Izzy.
No one can hear that.
I'm just so we've got actually everyone thinks it's going to be Izzy, so we're all going to be Izzy. Unanimous. Lustig or Janko. Who thinks it's going to be Lustig? Put your hand up. We've got 3 for Lustig, so okay, so that's Lustig as well. Midfield, it's going to be Bitton, Brown, Johansson, Armstrong. Armstrong. Is Armstrong going to be fit?
If Armstrong's fit, he'll definitely play. I think the one choice is between Forrest and Mackay Stephen.
I think it's
I
going to
think
be
it's
Forrest.
I think it's going to be Forrest as
yeah.
well.
But if Armstrong isn't fit, Chris or Manny,
Yeah.
and to the rest of the cynics, if Armstrong isn't fit, who are you playing there?
Well,
Are you playing Forrest there and playing Commons on the left? Are you playing Gary Mackay Stephen and Forrest?
Commons look at the pace to be playing.
I'm not.
I think it would be McGregor.
Commons is going to be. He's a nice option in the bench if we're chasing a goal, and that's where I'd like him to
Go
start
mid.
the game.
Yeah.
He's a guy that can, the ball drops to the edge of the box, he can pull something out, but I wouldn't start him. I think he'll go with his wide players. He's not going to. If Armstrong's not fit, I think he'll go with Mackay Stephen and
Forrest.
Allen, I don't think he'll come onto the pitch, but it's an option.
It is an option.
We curveball that we're talking about earlier on
It's a curveball.
could be something that we consider. Um,
If I'm going to say curveball, I'm going to say Chifty and Griffiths.
That's what I was thinking. I think maybe
Oh,
Griffiths on the left.
Maybe you were thinking that, but I said it.
oh yeah, right.
No.
What will happen is we all know that they'll play Griffiths till he runs himself into the ground, and then Shifty will miscontrol it for fun over there.
And then another telly in the Sermani house. Who meets his last day.
Shifty's not shown anything in a Celtic strip at all. I mean, I know you guys, I've not rated him, and I get a rap for having a hate list and being negative and stuff like that, but I'm not. I'm quite a positive person. However, Shifty has literally shown nothing in a Celtic strip so far. Now, I know he's not had a shout in the league because he likes biting players, but God, that sound better. No, he's not had a shot in the league, obviously, but he's not shown anything, even against opposition like Sterling. So the fact that the thought that he's going to come on and do very much tomorrow, it doesn't really cut it with me. I don't see much of a role for him tomorrow.
You don't see a role for him long term, though, do you?
I don't rate the guy, but certainly I'm prepared to give him a chance in more games. Tomorrow night's not one where I would be, pinning any sort of hopes on him. I'm shiting myself. I really am. I truly am.
I think at least tomorrow night, it's at least the game is finally here. I think since the end of last season, the whole club is basically been in a limbo until tomorrow. So at least there's a bit of, well, everybody is, as Hermione says, shiting themselves.
Yeah.
At least it's here. And at least if before we started the qualifying, if you're given the choice of you have to go to Sweden and not lose to go to the Champions League group stages, I think everybody would have taken that. I think there's always a shame that the whole season and also part of Ronnie's legacy is going to be defined by one match, but that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So if we don't go through, that is quite a bigger setback. It is, it's something that's going to sit with him, not qualifying for the Champions League the first 2 seasons. On the other side, on the flip side, if they can go to Sweden tomorrow and qualify, I think the sky's the limit this season. I think that would put a lot of pressure off them. And it would be really interesting to see what they're going to do in the group stages.
We can just enjoy the group stages.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a huge game, and that is probably why Sermane is defecating himself at the moment. But yeah, no, I'm glad it's here. And anyway, they always have to jump through those hoops. So here it is, and I just have to stand up and fucking do it.
Yes.
I think if Armstrong doesn't play, I think he'll go McGregor over Mackay Stevens, because McGregor will give him more of a shift getting back and down. Because sometimes you watch Mackay Stevens, see if he's up attacking and he loses the ball, he doesn't really bother too much getting back. He likes to kind of float about. Whereas I think tomorrow's going to be very vital that both wingers, as you call them, are going to have to get up and down the pitch to help out the fullback. And I think McGregor will do that more than Mackay Stevens will do, because Armstrong can do that as well. Yeah,
absolutely. We're losing Christian for the last 5 minutes. Did you want to say something about what was your final comment about?
Oh, Griffiths.
No. Did you not have a comment about an article in the news, the papers yesterday?
Oh, Graham Spears and Lee Griffiths and Ronny Deila.
Yeah,
I have a page of notes about why he's completely wrong.
Can you put that into an article and we'll fight it up?
Oh, Christ. Well, basically, Graham Spears has managed in an article, and I like Graham Spears, I think he's one of the good guys, but he's managed in an article about football to completely disregard the concept of coaching and its impact on any sort of players. So that's my soon-to-be article in a nutshell.
Lovely stuff. Well, we're losing you. Well, we're almost done, to be fair. We've only got 5 minutes left, but you need to go.
I need to go.
Prediction, quickly.
Quickly, prediction.
I think Celtic's going to go through by 1 goal.
1-0 to Celtic.
And we'll all get drunk.
And who scored in the future?
I'm going to say 1-0. It's going to be...
You just said
1-0. No, go through by 1 goal.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
So...
Listen, the education system isn't that bad in this country.
It's going to be Shifty with a 30-yard
Boom.
Right, that's your way now.
Christian, are you on Periscope? That's the lead point. We want to know, are you on Periscope?
No.
Okay. Thanks for that. Listen, actually, we're going to have to wrap up anyway.
I had a point to make.
Make your point.
You pushed in my chips.
Make your point.
You want me to keep talking? Yeah. All right. I was going to say how much of a kind of when you said about McGregor instead of Armstrong, wouldn't it be quite funny if McGregor, being the boy who kind of shone at the start of Deila's reign and scored those goals in Europe last year, right at the beginning, if he was the boy to score the winning goal that put us through? Who knows? Probably not going to happen, but we'll see.
What was Armstrong's injury? Was that just a wee strain or
was
something?
It not?
He went off with a tight thigh muscle, was it?
Well, it was his groin in one of the previous games. So I don't know if it was just a kind of recurrence of that. But I don't know. I mean, Dyer definitely rates McGregor, so I wouldn't be totally shocked if he made an appearance at some point.
We're coming to the 90 minutes mark. Looking for predictions from people. I'll go with myself. Prediction: I think Celtic will win 2-1 tomorrow. I think we're probably going to concede just from the way we're playing in terms of defensively. Big key, fullback's going to be key. I think everybody knows that. But I think Celtic will win 2-1. Sorry, and I do think Celtic will go 2-0 up. Fingers crossed, I'm right. Goal scorers, I think Griffiths definitely, and I can see a midfielder scoring, and maybe a Scott Brown, or even a bit on goal. But yeah, so 2-1 to Celtic. Very positive about that to go through. We'll start with Louis McCaffrey, the Housewife's favourite. After we've got myself, Christians, Louis.
I genuinely think it's going to be a high-scoring game again. I think it'll be a score draw, and I'm going to go 3 each.
Jesus Christ!
I think it was 3-2 in the first leg. It's not exactly out with the realms of possibility. I think F8 will end up starting. It'll be awful. We'll lose goals, but Griffiths will pull it out of the bag for us. 3-3 Celtic through. Oh yes.
Kieran?
I'm going with 0-0. I think it's going to be a very cagey,
Karabakh style
squeaky bum time Karabakh. I think we're just going to go with the whole tactical matchup of the Karabakh game and just keep it tight, frustrate them, and it's going to be 90 minutes of just sheer hell on your stomach.
I'm really not looking forward to it. Chris or Manny?
I don't think we'll be able to not concede. I think there's too much nerves in the entire team throughout the side. I think defensively we've got worries, especially at fullback, as we say. I'm not going to go on record and say that Celtic won't go through, so I'm going for 2 each. I think they'll go.
Notice you've not been mocked yet.
I think they'll go 3 each is just mental. I think they'll go 2-0 up, and I'll start crying. I'll be excused from the pub I'm in for smashing the telly, and when I get up the road, I'll put on my new telly and see that we've pulled 2 goals back, two fairly late goals, and the jubilation will go through the roof. 2 each. We're going to sneak through, but don't expect any fun tomorrow night.
Not expecting any fun. I don't think any of us are. We're going to wrap it up there just because we don't want to go on. We'll cover obviously how the SPL is and stuff in the next sort of podcast, and some of the results from this week as well. But this match is just so important that we felt we had to kind of dedicate most of our time to it. Scotland squad was announced today. Armstrong's in it for the first time. It's looking.
He's the only player called up who's not got a cap.
There you go. Griffiths is called out back into it. There's a big sort of hoo-ha the fact that Charlie Adams not being included into it, but he just can't play in that Scotland team. You have to work 100% the whole time. He doesn't track back. He's fat. He can't pass 2 yards in front of him. Now, I'm a Charlie Adam fan. I am, but there are certain people who, if he could play for Italy in terms of he's got great.
What?
You know what I mean? No, he's not good enough to play for Italy, but
handsome enough to play for Italy.
That's a good point. But for Scotland, for me, no, I don't. Unless we had injuries and stuff. Thank fuck Barry Bannon's not in it. Anyway, that's we'll discuss the upcoming qualifiers coming up. Anyway, I'm really crap myself about tomorrow's game. It's really affecting me. But it's been a pleasure as always. Christian Wolf has left us already.
Thanks for having me.
That's basically your Dirk Boerichter impression. Yes, Dirk Boerichter. Chris Armani, it's been an absolute pleasure as always.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'd like to apologise if any negativity has shown through, but I'm going with a positive. We're going to do it tomorrow night. Hail, hail, listeners.
I am in agreement. Who's my favourite? Look at that handsome you are, eh? Oh, lovely.
Look at that catalogue pose.
That is a catalogue pose. Get that on Periscope. Louis McCaffrey.
Call me the Oracle. 3-3. Terrific.
Jesus Christ.
Hail, hail.
Lovely stuff. Thanks for coming on as always. Kieran Harron, it's a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Let's hope we're going to be talking on Monday on a good vibe.
Yes,
After one tomorrow, hail hail.
good vibe. And I'm going to finish with a hail as well. We're all on a very hopeful, positive spin.
Group hail.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Hail.
That was
I
awful.
thought you were going to go for a huddle there. I thought you said we got a huddle on the table.
Yeah, 'cause,
Next week.
That'll be periscoped. We're on Periscope.
For one night only.
We've been on Periscope.
90 Minute Cynic, I guess. Do you search for stuff on Periscope? I've never been on it. So.
It's linked through our Twitter,
Right.
so you can get us through that.
Look out for Chris Gallagher's quality comment at the beginning.
Yep, thanks very much. That's been deleted, I think. We're on Twitter at 90 Minute Cynic. Check out the website, 90minutecynic.com. A lot more articles are going up on a weekly basis. You can check us out on Spreaker. Just search for Hail Media. Facebook.com/90minutecynic. And we're all on it. And you know, you can easily find the cynics by going back to recent articles and absolutely get involved. I'm Chris Gallagher, and we'll speak to you down the road.